The more I read the Old Testament, the more parallels I find between the Old Testament and the New Testament. And it's crazy because I do know that the Bible quotes itself 76,600 times. But every time I find a new parallel, like in today's reading, Hosea chapter 8, comparing it to something like Romans chapter 7 and seeing that we're a slave to sin and only God can break those chains, and the only person we're supposed to be focusing our worship on, the only person who is supposed to be our king, is Jesus Christ, is God himself, the more fascinating the Bible becomes to me. Which is why it's incumbent upon us as Christians to study the Bible, to find those parallels, to see that Jesus and Paul and Peter and John and James, they didn't come up with stuff out of thin air. They were relying heavily on the source material when they were writing their epistles, when Jesus was giving his sermons, when Paul was arguing with the Jews in the synagogues. None of this is new information. It's just presented in a way that the people who are reading or watching or listening can understand. That's like when you get a new translation, it's not its own new thing. They're going back to the original language. They're translating it. For the most part, there are bad translations. I don't recommend any paraphrase translations. But it's so that you can understand it better. Because, let's face it, none of us understand Old English anymore. Most of us probably don't know Latin or Greek or Aramaic or ancient Hebrew. I know I don't. I only understand English, and I'm lucky I can speak as much of it as I can. The point is, God speaks to us in a way that we can understand. In the Old Testament, he spoke to people through prophets. In the New Testament, he used the apostles and the epistles. And today, he still uses those same methods. So if the issue is you're not understanding something, prayer and going back to the old material is the best solution. Thank you guys. Have a good day. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.